Hi again, it's me, Cherish.
And I'm Joy.
And we're Musicals Musicals. And this is part 2 of our 2-show day. So we call it Smash for Matinee. And then we saw
Purpose
the evening show in the evening. And if you don't know, this is Purpose. It's a play. It's our first play of the year.
Oh, yeah.
It is. And this looks...
It looked a little darker than what the show was about.
I feel like this is not a good representation of the show at all.
This is given religious horror.
Yeah. And my religion is kind of like a
theme
in the show. It's not, I feel...
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no. I don't really... And it looks kind of horror-ish. Yeah, no. So Purpose is I think they say it's not considered they don't want it to be considered satire, if I read correctly.
Oh.
Who
thought it was
in
satire?
The playbill.
I wouldn't say it was satire.
It says, wait, where did I see it at? Where did I read that at?
I don't know, but I wouldn't consider Purpose a satire. It seemed like a drama to me. With, most dramas have comedic moments to kind of balance out, the drama.
Yeah. So The Purpose was directed by Felicia Rashad, I guess. Our mother saw it a few weeks ago before us, and she said she liked it. We personally were like, how much is Carrie Young in it?
We love Cara.
We love her. Since we saw Pearly
Victorious, we just... she's that girl.
I don't want to say obsessed, but...
No, whatever Cara's in, she's in it, and she's so good. And,
we only see her in Pearly, but
yeah.
if you've seen, do yourself a favor and go to PBS and watch Pearly Victoria's great performances. Like, it was filmed for PBS, and she is just amazing. And
she's an actress.
Yeah, we had the fortune of seeing her, like, shortly after we saw the show. We met her at the stage door. She just seems like a nice person. But we also met her at the flea market. A little while later. Maybe a week or so later. It was very close to when we saw the show, and she was so nice enough to talk to us. And did she remember us?
Yes,
I think so. Yes. Yeah. And we have a godbrother who's an actor. He really really is. I guess he would call himself an actor on the stage, but he does do a lot of commercials. He's been very lucky in that sense. But we were crossing our fingers for the day he's gonna make it to Broadway. But she knew about him. They knew of each other, I should say. So that was kind of cool for us, and for us to just be sitting there But anyway, so she's great, and we asked our mom. We were like, well, how much is it because if she's just kind of like a walk-on character, kind of do we want to sit through it? But my mom said no, she's in there
quite a bit. Yeah,
quite a bit. So we went to see Purpose, and I'm not mad we went.
No, it was a good show.
It was a good show. It was like a spur of the moment. We decided to rush it in the morning.
Yeah.
Knowing we were going to Smash, and we were like, oh, maybe we can go see
something in the evening.
something And I'm glad we saw Purpose. This is actually fun. It's at the Hayes Theater, which is the tiniest theater on Broadway. I think it only has 581 seats.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's very small, very tight.
Yeah.
Very intimate.
And we were in the mezzanine, which is not really a bad seat in the house, I would say. Unless maybe you're someone who needs an aisle or something. Because it's not a lot of room.
Yeah.
We've been to the Hayes 3 times now.
Yeah.
We've been there for the Kite Runner, which we had orchestra seats to. And then we saw Take Me Out, which we were in the mezzanine for. But on the right side, we were on the left side today. As far left as you can get, slightly obstructed a teensy tiny bit, but I don't think
you didn't miss anything.
Yeah. There was at one point you said something like the actress was doing something, and I said, oh, I can't see her, and then she happened to move, not from her seat, but just kind of change positions, and then I was able to see her, and I said, oh, okay, all right, so you won't miss that. We were row D or something like that. E, I think E. Yeah. and like as far left as you can get, which was nice, kind of, because then I could put my bags like on the side, so there was room for like my bags. But Purpose is about this family. It's a prominent African American family. They have like ties to the civil rights movement. The father is a preacher. He's like friends with, he was friends with Martin Luther King Jr. And he was like kind of like on the front lines of the civil rights movement. Now he's a pastor. He does a lot of like speaking engagements. And they're a well-off family that the mother practiced law. And they're very, as you can imagine, spiritual, like religious. It's a foundation of their home. They have 2 sons. One of the sons is our narrator. He actually he breaks the fourth wall like many times during the show to like give us backstory, narrate, blah 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 blah, give us his impressions, and he's a photographer. We find he's like a nature photographer. We find out, and the other son is he a senator?
Yeah, he's a politician.
Yeah, he's a politician, but he's a disgraced politician when we meet him. He's just gotten out of prison.
For like tax.
Yeah,
and embezzle, something like that.
Yeah, something with finances. And he's married to a woman who is also getting ready to start a prison
sentence
for tax reasons. We find on paper, and at first glance, they seem like a wonderful family. Maybe they just kind of had a little hiccup or two. The more time you spend with them, the more you realize how deeply flawed they are and kind of how scary they are and a bit manipulative. So our narrator's son, his name is Nazareth, was living in New York City, and he has a friend who is Carrie Young. They had a little arrangement. He was going to be a sperm donor for her, and so they link up at like Niagara Falls, and they have that. It's not sexual. They're not friends. Like they literally are just friends. And that he misses his flight. He's supposed to go back. It's his mom's birthday. Blah 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 blah. She drives him from Niagara Falls to Chicago, and she ends up getting like snowed in. She had no idea that he was part of this family. Yeah. She's very spiritual herself. She is very what would you call it?
Pro-black.
Yeah, very like pro-black. What's the word for those people? So like she grew up going to like a kind of like Afrocentric kind of like she had a very like Afrocentric like upbringing.
Black Panther.
Yeah, ish. Yeah. And so she finds out that these are his parents. She's like, oh my god. And then it's like, oh my god, like she could like possibly be carrying like a child
of like Black history.
Like, and it's very interesting to her at first, but
then it happens.
and as you can imagine, chaos ensues. It got so scary. The mother is played by LaTanya Jackson, I think, and it's so funny. We tried the stage door at the after the show, and first of all, it was like 80 degrees all day, and then when we get out the show, it's literally like 25 degrees. Like it got so cold so fast, and then they happen to have a lot of visitors. This is what maybe like 5 people in the cast. They happen to have a lot of visitors. Like nobody had come out. We were waiting out there for a nice minute, and it got cold, and we ended up leaving. But while we were waiting, there were these ladies. They were like, do you know who LaTanya Richardson Jackson is? She's the wife of Samuel L. Jackson. And I was just like, who didn't know that? Like, I feel like that's common now. How did you not know that? But anyway, she was so scary as the mother. I mean, she's offering people meals, and she's hospitable, and she's smiley, and she loves her children, and she like fusses over her husband, but she's scary as hell.
Overprotective.
Oh my god.
She's manipulative as well.
Oh my goodness. And then yeah.
You know, they kind of have a what's that moment? Checo's gun moment.
Yeah.
Where they talk about this family heirloom of a rifle downstairs in the basement, and so I'm like, oh, that's gonna come back into play,
and it does,
and it does. So it's like, it just didn't come back into play how I thought it was gonna happen, which I thought was quite interesting, funny, so sad at the same time, because the oldest son is like, you realize he's more than just his prison sentence, like he's sick. That's his whole thing.
Right.
Like, mentally he's unwell, and the dad just cannot accept that he's sick. He just thinks he's stupid. And, like, the dad probably got away with so much stuff.
They said they did.
Yeah, he did. And, like, the dad is not this stand-up, he has role model of a guy. He has a lot of skeletons in his closet.
You heard me, bones.
That come out. And then basically how it ends is Kara's character, Aziza, is basically like, you know what? I'm going to break off this deal about having... using you as a sperm donor, and that kind of makes Naz he's a little hurt by it, but we also find out that Naz is also a little neurodivergent himself, so he's not great at explaining why he's hurt by it, but, he never speaks to her again after she leaves the house that she got snowed in to. Basically, and you think that the funny thing is they would still be friends if it wasn't for the snow and having to stay there.
Right.
If they just let her, go find a hotel, none of this would have happened.
Right.
And like they were trying to keep that arrangement to themselves and under wraps, but the mom's so nosy,
spoiled,
and it gets like it's so crazy, and the sister-in-law is just so over them all. And
she was such an interesting character to me.
Very.
The sister-in-law.
Very. I mean, I mean,
I felt bad for her. I think I felt the worst.
Oh
for her.
Yes, she's the victim. Yeah. Not Naz. She's.
It was like pull her, and then you kind of realize that like the trouble she's going through could be it's directly because of them.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dang. But I felt so bad for her. I was like, we gotta get her out of that house.
Yeah, and
I was like, girl, follow me. Like,
the audience was very in tune to the show.
Yeah, I mean, considering who the director was and the cast, it makes sense that the audience also reflected. it was an older audience. It was a primarily African American audience. There was a lot of call and response back and responding, which I don't think was entirely inappropriate. Literally, it was a part when someone they're praying on stage, and when it's done, the our audience was like amen, and it just I was like, right, of course, why wouldn't they say amen? It felt like church to me a little bit. Not that the show itself was super preachy. There were some preachy characters, but I didn't feel like I was being preached at the whole show. Which I know can happen sometimes when shows have religious characters, but sometimes I feel like August Wilson shows get a little preachy.
And you think about the time it was written, that makes sense.
Yeah, but this was not so preachy. I'm trying to think. The last play we saw was Our Town, and not to compare shows. I mean, we can compare shows. I thoroughly enjoyed Purpose a lot more than Our Town.
Yeah.
One just visually, it having a set.
Yeah.
Our Town, I mean, there was a bit of a... I mean, there was a little bit of a set for Our Town. Our Town was interesting.
The story to Purpose is more interesting.
Yes, I would say. Our Town was definitely a product of its time, for sure. Also, what got me was, they could give us smells, but we couldn't get a prop.
Yeah.
Katie Holmes is doing this, making food, we smell bacon. Can she have a bowl? Can she have a spoon? What is going on? But yeah. I think my favorite part of Our Town was Ephraim in his baseball. In his baseball shirt. Which kind of makes me feel a little strange, because technically he's supposed to be a teenager. So I should not have been attracted to him, but you know what? Whatever. But Our Town was great. Then you might know some of the cast. So we talked about Kara, and then there was
Henry Lennox played the dad.
Yeah, he's like the light skinned guy.
Yeah, they made him look a lot older than what he looks like.
Oh my god, I was saying like he is not that old of a man. I think he was padded to look fatter.
I think so.
To look heavier.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's very like handsome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Harry Lennox Solomon. Let's see where you guys would know him from. You'll see him on TV.
Yeah, like. You know him when you see him.
Yeah. Okay. So the Blacklist, Billions, blah blah blah. Like,
he's been working for a very long time.
Yeah. And then Glenn Davis was Junior, which is Naz's brother. I thought that was like good casting because he kind of looked like the dad,
Mm-hmm.
and then Naz kind of looked like stuck between
them,
both of them. Like they, as a family, I bought it personally.
Mm-hmm.
Also, who played the Morgan, Alana Arenas? She was great. Oh, interesting. Since we created the role of Pecola Breather for the Steppenwolf for Young Adults production of The Blues Eye, and I'm trying to figure out how they would make that for young adults. I mean, we read it in high school, so I mean, the material is not like, but I'm like, interesting. Kind of would like to have seen it. Also, is she dark enough to be Pecola? If we're being honest, like, I know the whole thing about Pecola was like she was dark skinned and had dark eyes, and like you could see why she would not like herself, considering the time it was and how Shirley Temple would be like her. Anyway, but okay, sure. Not to get colorist, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was funny. It had its moments of like, you know, angst and like just so much like these people. Like you just feel like these people make their lives difficult for no reason, and all in the name of like image and like It's just like
he has such a the playwright. Okay, so he did Appropriate, and then like I'm just thinking like his titles, and then there's like Girls, and then there's Everybody, and then there's War, and then there's Gloria, and then there's like Neighbors, and it's like Purpose, and then there's the Comeuppance, and then there's an Octoroon. Like it's very interesting. I don't know. I just feel like he has a yeah.
I mean, if you want to see a play with a small ensemble, and I think this is a good one to go see. No?
I wonder if Mom would have known him. If she watches that show.
Yeah, maybe.
Sorry. I would recommend Purpose.
I mean, is it any way like is it pushing the needle on data? Absolutely not. Like, is it like a wonderful, spectacular visual play like Cursed
I like
Child
the
or
set.
something? No, it's a play. There's a set that stays stationary. It's a family. It's like, I mean,
it's what I like in a play.
Yeah, it's what I like in a play. I mean, yeah, it's a good play. But I think what's interesting about this one is like that they're well off, you know. And I feel like most plays with black people, they're like struggling somehow. It's historical, you know, and it's there that you know. So yeah.
Purpose. We got
a magnet.
So there's that. They had these cute t-shirts that like bees play kind of like a big role in the show as well, and then they had like a bee on it, and I was like, ooh, but I didn't get it. Now I kind of wish I did because I like bees, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Thank you for watching. Ooh, what are we gonna see next?
Don't know.
I don't know either. Is there something like you're thinking like you really want to see? Or?
I saw that Teletubbies now has Real Women Have Curves on.
You want to see that?
Maybe. Why not? That's a musical.
Why not?
I want to see Stranger Things.
Oh, okay.
And Dead Outlaw.
Well, let's see it.
Let us see.
Oh, what about the one that what you call it is in for the doo-wop guy?
Oh, Just in Time.
Yeah.
Bobby Darin.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Bobby Darin? We like Bobby Darin music.
Mm-hmm.
We like doo-wop music. But thank you all for watching. Bye.
Bye.